On the far side of fitness, our goal is to talk about things in a different way, something that's on the far side. So we want to jump into this pretty immediately about how can we do entrepreneurship differently?
Let's start first with changing your perspective on what we're taught in our culture, which is to focus on productivity and managing our time and more discipline to reach the success that we crave, and change that over to let's focus on managing our energy first and being more conscious of inspiring ourselves with what it is that we love to do. And as busy entrepreneurs, we are typically great at stopping doing the things that we love because life gets busy. And when we have that disconnect in our energy, we lose the ability to remember what the joyful aspects of our enterprise are, which is how we best connect with our clients. So, for folks who are listening, please get out your journal and your pen and take some notes because I want to take you through 5 points to really help you jumpstart your business as well as your ability to reconnect with yourself and your ideal clients. So, energy is number one. Number two, I really encourage people to take the time to take what is my favorite assessment of all time, and that is the Colby A index. Now, if you're rolling your eyeballs back in your head thinking, I don't want to take another assessment, I can tell you this is a life-changing assessment. It will take you probably an hour to do. I am a certified Colby instructor, and this is not an affiliate push. This is the fact that I took this test myself probably 12 years ago. And when I learned what it reveals to us, which is how we are wired to take action, everything in my business shifted. I discovered that when I got my results back, I was spending about 80% of my time out of alignment. That was draining my energy and my joy for doing my work. So when you get your results back, I am happy to gift you a 30-minute free session, and I'll help you go through your results. But you're going to learn how to swim in the current of what you naturally do well, and you'll be able to pinpoint what you need to begin delegating and get out of this sort of classic mindset that we have to remediate our weaknesses in order to be successful entrepreneurs. So let's just take that completely off your list and let's focus on being free to be who you truly are. Now, let's start to get a little bit more sort of granular and focused on some specific exercises. First, if you're thinking about, okay, how do I establish my fastest path to cash? On your paper, I want you to take a moment and draw 3 concentric circles. Think about how you naturally attract clients. That could be through your friendship network. That could be through clubs that you belong to. It could be through referrals. It could be through writing killer copy. It could be through being introduced to someone who has a new technique in your industry and partnering and collaborating with them to make a new joint offer. Whatever it is for you, in the center of that bullseye, I want you to write your first best way to attract clients. Not what you think you should be doing, but what you're already doing that's working very well. And then go to your second and your third. Take a look at this diagram and you'll start to see, and your brain will already begin to generate incredible ideas for how you can actually pick up new clients today, this afternoon. You'll be able to go, oh my gosh, I haven't reached out to so-and-so, or I've got an idea for something, and I could launch a little prototype of something next week that I think would actually be really attractive to the market. So let's stop worrying and concerning ourselves with what everybody else is doing, because all that is doing is frustrating you, keeping you stuck, and it's also keeping you off your rhythm and off your center of gravity because you're focused on all of these other things that don't appeal to you, and you don't naturally attract clients that way. So stop forcing yourself to do marketing that does not work for you or your soul. I'll stop there and see if you have any questions so far.
So that was awesome. That was literally what I like about this is just the kind of the directives. Let's just get to the point. Let's trim all the stuff around this and actually having exercises for people to do for that. Now, I want to go back to the alignment piece here because I think
Mhm.
this is important. Can you delve a little bit further before we jump further into the next 3, 4, 5 year? Talk about alignment and why that can be off for people. Why are they doing things that maybe that's not contributing to their business properly?
We are immersed in a culture through all kinds of messages, many of which are coming to us through social media. And we're looking around at how people in other industries and our own industry are doing things. And there is this sort of sense in us innately that in order for us to be successful and in order for us to have value, we are under this sort of spell that we have to do more, we have to achieve more in order to have that success. That is is an absolute quick path to burnout because we're always on the gerbil wheel trying to do more and more, but we're off the trajectory. We're off our path. So stop doing all the things that don't work for you. The other is it's so important to remember that the marketing elixir is us, not somebody else. And we have to remember that we have to protect this beautiful being who we are. And all of you who are in the fitness world know how important that is on the physical plane. But we also have to remember this on the soul level for our enterprises and our own life enjoyment.
It makes a lot of sense. And that makes me think back to number one, which is about energy, about that. I would love for you to, again, dive a little bit deeper into the energy part, because I think when we think about marketing, we don't think about energy. We skip these steps to other things. Why is energy number one for you on there?
I have learned this year, actually, and I've been doing this work for a long time, and I have learned that there is a hidden energy load to learning and doing something new. And we never take that into consideration. So we just think, oh, I should be able to crack out 20 social media posts, or I should be able to offer 3 new programs this week, or I should be able to figure out this technology and do XYZ. And all of those things may be in your zone of genius. But if there's an aspect to doing something different and or new, there is a big drain on our energy. And so what happens is we start the process, we step our toe into the water, and it's hard. It's harder than we thought it was going to be. Things don't work right. We have disappointments. And then our mind will tell us, oh, you're just not cut out for it. You're never going to be successful. Not true at all. Your ability to weather the roller coaster ride 100% depends upon energy. So there are some clever things that you can do to protect it. First, identify what I call your creative circadian rhythm is. You all know what a physical circadian rhythm is. Now let's talk about where your energy and your creativity are at their highest during the day. For me, I'm a morning person. I get up very early. I crack out all kinds of great stuff before 9 a.m. You do not want me to try to solve a Rubik's Cube at 3 p.m. So if we are unaware that our motivation, our willingness, our sense of possibility, and our courage isn't great at 3 p.m., we might try the new hard thing at that time and just go nowhere with it, thinking again, there's something wrong with us, that we're not cut out for it. So find that window of time. I have some people who have 2 windows where they have a morning one and they have a late evening one. I just have one, but figure out what that is for you and then test it just to make sure, because I originally thought my time period was 5 to 10. It's actually earlier than that. Now, I'm not suggesting, don't vote me off the island. I'm not suggesting that everybody has to get up at 3 a.m. to actually be successful. That's just what works for me. Find your window and then dig a moat around that time. Don't spend it doing email. Don't do administrative tasks. Don't let people rope you into nonsense meetings. Just put an absolute wall around that time, because here's what's so fascinating. You will start to notice that you get about 3 times your level of ideas, your problem solving, your creative thinking, your ability to tap into your imagination and your intuition. And then the rest of the day, you can coast. And then you get your window back again the next day. And you can save that time. So if you're thinking about, I want to do something creative and interesting with my enterprise, I want to launch something new, make sure that happens during your optimal creative circadian rhythm window, and your chances of success and how much fun you will have while you're doing the work will skyrocket.
That's brilliant. And I think this has a lot of application to fitness professionals, because especially personal trainers, group exercise instructors, where the work is very much early morning and early evening to later evening time. And so what it sounds like to me is you're saying is, especially in this profession, that you got to understand your energy load or your availability to work in those different time chunks. Like if you are really like, hey, your productivity is like 4 p.m. to midnight, like you're just working that time period is basically what you're saying, right? Devote your time and don't worry about it being like, I'm missing out on the morning people that I could be training. Is this what we're basically saying?
It's important, I think, for you to first know what your optimal window is, and then look at the reality, because you might have some of your best clients who want to come during your magic window of energy and creativity, but you're not out of luck. Having the awareness is that you can start to stack little sections of that time during other days during the week. So you may have, let's say your window is 10 to 1, and you can't do 10 to 1 every day, but I bet you could do 10 to 11 at least 3 or 4 times a week. So you can start to get very strategic about how you plan and map out what you're doing and when you're doing it. Now, I will say, I have been a real estate agent since 2001, and I used to be an agent on demand. If you called me on a Sunday at 7 a.m., I would meet you at a house. This is not what I'm recommending. That is just going to take you right into misery and burnout. So if you have clients who are asking you to see them during certain periods of the day or evening that don't work for you, try to get creative and thoughtful about how you can get them to maybe change up that schedule and be more protective of it without losing that connection to your client. It is possible. If people they're always going to pitch what they want, what's best for them. But you can always come back and say, that's a wonderful idea. Is it possible we could do 12 to 1 instead? And if it's not going to work, then you can always just come back and redo. But do at least have the ability to offer alternatives that do work for you. Then you're going to just need to be very focused during those windows. If they're shorter or less frequent, you can still get the results that you're after. You're just going to have to be more thoughtful and intentional.
Makes complete sense. And I think to add on to that too is one thing with a lot of fitness professionals, especially people who are new into it or they're a career 2.0, they're coming from a different industry into fitness. They don't understand the energy load. They think, oh, this is something I really want to do. I love it, but they don't know what it actually requires, the energy that it requires, and understanding the boundaries that they need to create for themselves for that. So I think that's one of the biggest issues I think we face when people go, well, I love to do this, but man, I just had no idea the energy load for this. And then they get demotivated. And then in our industry, it's a 12-month window. The attrition happens after 12 months, tremendous dropout, and people do something else. They haven't really understood the energy load or what they're getting into.
If I may add one nugget here, for the person who has been thinking about, dreaming about making that transition, it's a wonderful opportunity for you to map out some things while you're still at the other job before you take that leap so that you can remove that heavy burden of anxiety and pressure to have immediate liftoff. So one of the things that you can do is start to what I call stock the pantry with resources. And that is, you're going to want to have a burn rate of at least 6 months saved. That gives you plenty of cushion to experiment and try lots of things because it's hard to get traction when we're new. We don't know what's going to work. We don't know what the market wants yet. We think we do, but if we come into an enterprise without that runway and without that time, we're just going to start throwing spaghetti on the wall and maybe not connecting. Then when we don't get the response that we're looking for, again, the brain is going to tell us that we're not cut out for this world of entrepreneurship. And again, that is absolutely not true. Every single person who is listening to this right now, it has the potential to be an incredibly successful entrepreneur.
That's awesome. So we've gone through energy, and I got so into this. What was the next one again? We were going
knowing how you're wired to take action.
And then number 3
right?
was
That is really dialing in and understanding how you naturally attract clients and doing that.
right. So we're on that path. I want to start transitioning from that, but stay on that a little bit, the number 3, because I think that part is pretty new to a lot of us in this industry. We think about the kind of, what do we do? What are the modalities we use to attract clients? But we don't think about what do we do to attract clients? So I love that exercise of creating the circles and get, what is it that I do? Like I think of myself, the thing that helps me attract clients is talking to people. I love talking to people. I go out. I mean, early in my career, I was a big chamber of commerce person. I would go to nightclub networking events, just whatever it was. I just wanted to talk to people. I wanted them to get in front of me and feel my presence. I felt my presence was my strength, was in my ability to talk. So it sounds like to me, you're saying, hey, you have to identify that. These circles are a way of you knowing that. Do you ever run into people going, I'm not sure what helps me attract people?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. So here's your example is absolutely brilliant and perfect for this conversation because we tend to discount what we do really well because it comes easy to us and we tend to ignore it, oddly. And here's what's so fascinating is that we will believe that there's more value doing the icky hard thing that doesn't work for us than the thing that we're naturally great at, that we love doing. You are a vivacious, extroverted, lovely, charming human. You should be out there talking to as many people as you possibly can. People can see you, feel your energy, feel your passion for what you do, and connect with that and go, oh, you know what? It's possible. And he's my guy. He's the one who's going to lead me across the threshold into a new life. I trust him. So think about what that is for you. What do you naturally do when you're having fun? Where do you hang out? Who do you like to connect with? Who are your favorite people? And start to just make a list. If you're unsure, I don't even know how I could market or where I'm strong in marketing. Don't think about it as marketing. Think about it as where you naturally tend to hang out when you are having the most fun. And what are you doing? What kinds of hobbies do you have? What clubs are you involved in? What kinds of things do you do in your downtime? Things that you do incredibly well and bring you joy. It's the perfect combination for putting the right piece of bait on the hook. And you'll also intuitively know where to drop it. Which pond should it go in? And which fish do you want to have come swim up to the hook?
It's so funny you mentioned about we just always discount the things that come easy to us as really powerful tools to sell our business. That always blows my mind. I think there's something about us that we don't trust the things that were just, oh, it's natural to us, or that we'll go for the hardest thing that we're just not really great at to try to sell. I feel like it's a pretty common approach for a lot of people.
It's so common. And again, the trap is this belief that in order for us to have value, we have to achieve, right? Remember that cultural lore and consider it a snake pit because that is going to just push you into the abyss of no fun and no cash. But if you will get really clear and remember, what is it that brings you alive? And do that for your outreach. Invite people into your gym virtually. If somebody needs a motivational minute and you love chatting to people and you're not afraid of being on social media and you're not afraid of just doing a spontaneous live from your gym, you could say, I came in this morning, I didn't feel like working out this morning. And I always feel like working out, but today I didn't. We all have those days. And here's what I did this morning to get my mind so I could do this and feel great. And you could spend 2 minutes just chat, a little motivational minute to help people go, okay, I got to get back on track. I need to believe back into this program and get back on track and do what I know is the best thing for me. People will start to resonate because it's your honest, authentic journey that you're sharing. So it doesn't have to be this grandiose thing. You could be standing in your kitchen making a smoothie, sharing a recipe. You could share the best, coolest sneakers you just found that have made all the difference in how you protect your stance when you're lifting heavy weights. You could invite people in your community to go on a walk where you talk about your top health tips. So it's just endless what you can do, but you're never going to get there if you're not focused back at the home plate of you.
I love the home plate of you. That's good. Let's move into number 4 here of our trajectory.
Yeah. So the next thing is, and it's so easy for us to skip this step because we think, I just want everybody to be a client. But we need to focus on who our ideal client is and get pretty detailed and granular there. What is it that they most need? And one of the best ways that we can get to that, because a lot of people will go, I don't even know where to start there. Think about the earlier version of yourself. What did you struggle with the most? What is your sort of series of milestones? What do you still struggle with, even though you're a licensed fitness expert? And then you can start to think, okay, what components of these clues start to formulate kind of an avatar of whom I really want to be a hero to? And you can free write for about 3 to 5 minutes. And don't worry about punctuation or prose or getting the wording right. Just do a total brain dump on a page. Who comes to mind? Is there a specific person with whom you're already working who you adore, that the hour together in the gym feels like 5 minutes? You work hard together. They're getting amazing results. They have had all kinds of transformational experiences with you, and you just adore them as a person, as a client. Let's get more of those. So what is it about them? What is unique and different, and what are the components of who they are that could translate into a pool of these kinds of ideal clients? Then you can start to use language and that's going to attract this ideal person that would appeal to your existing client. So you can talk to them. What kind of headline? If I were sending you an offer for something, what is it that you're struggling with, Mr. Smith, right now that would get your attention? And you can start to understand more deeply, like, what are the pain points for the earlier version of me and or my ideal client that I can create something around that is an absolute home run.
That was fantastic. It was interesting when you were doing that. I had this collage, all these wonderful people who are my current clients, who are my ideal clients. And they all have very similar qualities, extremely similar qualities that I love about them as people and as my time working with them. And particularly that time element where all of us who work with clients in any profession, but in here with fitness, everyone knows who listens to this, clients who you feel drained when you spend time with them, and clients who you're like, man, I can work with this person all the time. I just feel great when I'm with this person. And it sounds like to me, you're saying like, you have to really sit down, identify what are the qualities, what are the traits, what are the things that make you love that time so much with that person or those people.
1000%. And I'm so glad that you tied all of this back to energy, because if we have a roster of clients, 80% of whom are draining our energy, guess what? We are going to be among that group of attrition in the following year, because we can't tolerate that for very long. But if we get very clear about who's a hell yes and who's a hell no, so while you're making your ideal client list, let's go ahead and make a list. Like, who is just not invited to the party? And get very clear and specific about that. Because here's the thing. You're going to get calls and you're going to be tempted to take the hell no client, because that is the brain doing what it does best, which is to focus on scarcity and survival and fearing the unknown. So if you're already armed with that's my hell no list, you will be more apt to refer that person to somebody else. They could be an absolute win for a colleague. And who doesn't love referrals, right? Now, if you're in scarcity mode, you're going to say, I'm going to take everybody. And I get that. And you may have to do that for a little while. But I want you to have a plan where in 1 month, you have something in your planner that says revisit clients. And I want you to sit down and get very clear. Okay, I'm allowed to take 2 people who are not my ideal clients, but I want everybody else to be in the hell yes column. And when I hit escape velocity, I'm going for 100% of my ideal people. And I think that can help to serve us incredibly well regardless of what stage of the journey we're on, because there's always ebbs and flows to client and deal flow. So make sure that you have a periodic check-in with yourself, because the first thing that you're going to notice is that you don't feel good. And when you don't feel good, we need to chase down the root cause and the thought that's causing the pain, and then get out finding the solution to how to right the ship. And client load is one thing, and client composition is absolutely another.
It's so well said. The great thing about this conversation is it's so relevant to anybody in this field and a lot of other fields. I'm making it very personal for me. I just think about, I would say it's close to 100% hell yeah as you can get right now for me. And it took a long time to get there. I did have a scarcity mentality for a little bit in the middle of my career, and I think what changed it for me is I did that exercise you thought about. And not only did I do that, I did it with my current clients too. I said, if you refer me to someone, this is what I'm looking for. Because what I noticed is when clients would refer me to other people, they didn't have the playbook. So they would refer people to me who were just a lot of hell no's for me. And it was honestly a real waste of time. And that hurt me so much when I would waste my time with people who were a lot of hell no's. It's not, they were nice people. They just were not great for me. So this is, to me, an incredible tip, because you really have to sit down. A lot of this feels to me like just sitting down and actually evaluating yourself and what you're doing, and then being intentional about it. This is very personal for me, number 4 especially.
I'm so glad. And this is something that is a life skill as well as a business skill. And having time, which I'll talk about in just a minute, and that spaciousness in our schedule is how we can stay in front of the boat rather than being drug behind it in the wake.
Most definitely. So number 5, let's check into that.
Let's talk about this idea that we tend to all have. I want to create a program. I want to make a new offer. I want to offer something new. I want to jazz up my enterprise with something fresh and exciting. And I am all for that. I do want to suggest to folks that it's very important that you first quiz your ideal clients as to what it is that they would want. We tend to leave the humans out of the equation, and we tend to just create in a vacuum. And then we wonder why it didn't connect, why it didn't sell. So let's talk to our ideal people and say, what would be fun? What haven't we tried yet? Do you want to do a session on Friday mornings and it's all going to be about this, or whatever it is? Find your ideal folks, 6 of whom you can create a little prototype for, and just get 6, just a small group, test it out, offer it at a big discount. Make it impossible to say no to. Don't do a huge, long program. Do something for 1 or 2 days or a month over the course of 4 days in a month, something like that. So you have enough of a sort of longitudinal study that gives you some interesting intel. What worked? What didn't work? What seemed to light everybody up? What was the most fun for you to do? And then take all of that feedback and knowledge. Now you're ready to create the thing that you launch to everybody. And it could be a longer, more expensive offering, but you're sure to find traction because you've already tested it with your people and it's already been a home run.
That's great. I'm actually in that process with a program I'm doing, literally. And the whole concept is this outside eyes, and let's do a test focus group type of thing in order to understand what do they actually want from the program. So I think that's brilliant. I think we skip that a lot too. We just go right into the program. Like, here's my offering. I actually don't know if people want this, but I think I should do that, right? I feel like this happens a lot too, by the way, Susie.
We all do it. No one is safe from this sort of strange tendency that we all have to launch in a vacuum and not have any lead up to it, not have any intel, not have any paying humans a part of the process. So yes, it's very common, but we don't have to fall into the trap for sure.
Yeah, that's just brilliant because I think all of us, especially in fitness, programming, putting out new programs, wellness programs, group training, whatever it is, I think we just think, I'm going to offer this because people will probably want this. And then we're surprised when it doesn't work because we haven't really done the legwork in terms of finding out what it is that people are actually looking for. But a novel idea, right? What do you like? And so what do you actually want?
If we can take entrepreneurship back to basics, just simple building blocks, every single time you're about to connect with a client or create something new or explore a new offer, whatever it is, ask yourself, what would this look like if it were simple? Because we tend to want to make, if you're going to do an online program, it has to be 12 weeks long and it has to have 500 worksheets with it and blah. And nobody wants any. We want exactly what you and I are doing right now. We want clear, specific, practical guidance that's going to push us further down the field toward our optimal health. That's what we want. And so get into our heads, find out what it is that keeps us up at night. What wakes us up early with excitement? How can you create something that is going to be completely in alignment with what everyone's hopes and dreams are?
There goes that word alignment again, Susie. What's interesting. This word has come up so much in my life. And I would say the past 6 months. And I've really tried to spend a lot of time like, how can I get in better alignment with my thoughts, feelings, ideas, values, whatever, to create this synergy? And then it comes back to the energy, number one, right? My energy is at the best possible, like peak level energy I can provide to provide the best thing. And I think we don't often know we're out of alignment. I feel like that's an issue too. We don't know.
I can tell you that our mind will tell us all kinds of fibs, but our body is never going to lie to us. And we're going to know we're out of whack because we don't feel good. We have anxiety, we have racing thoughts, we're not sleeping well, we feel stressed, we feel burned out. Those are all the flags that say something's not in alignment. Now, I can tell you in my book, I take you through a practice that I call the 5 M's. This is something that you can do every single morning, and you can start with 5 minutes. This is your path back to alignment. And the first M is morning pages, and that's journaling, which is the brainchild of author Julia Cameron, who wrote the book, The Artist's Way. This is 3 pages of long handwriting into a journal, and it's a brain dump. It's a beautiful way to separate what is just brain crack and what is really you, because there's all kinds of stuff going through our mind every single day, 70,000 or so thoughts, most of which we're not even conscious of. So we have a chance to come home to ourselves again, and we can write and we can clear the mind, and we can also spot in these pages, this is something I need to address, or hey, there's an idea, or wow, that was a scary dream last night, or I need to pick up the dry cleaning today. Whatever it is rolling around in our minds, we can be separate from it. And with that distance comes calm and peace and confidence. The second M is meditation. And I know everyone who's listening to this already understands meditation. I do want to just say you can do 5 minutes in a quiet room. If you feel that meditation is too challenging for you or has to be complicated, I want to assure you it does not have to be that way at all. Even just sitting for 5 minutes and resisting the urge to get up and do something is incredibly healing because you're pruning neural passages that are prompting you through this sort of anxious energy to keep a frenetic pace. Oh, I should be doing something. I should be doing something. So if you come into a chair in the dark, 5 minutes, it will reset your central nervous system. And then you'll have much more clarity and you'll be back at the pack as the pack leader of your own energy. The third is movement. Of course, you all are doing this all day long. I don't need to sing the praises of this. I will say you might try new ways to move. If you don't walk, you might try a walk with a journal. It's where I get my best ideas. So if you're stuck or if you're creatively blocked, bring a piece of paper and a pencil with you and head out for a 15-minute walk. You will be incredibly surprised at what comes to you. And it's also an opportunity to come into alignment with all the other things that you're working on too. But it's a way to knit together the benefits of everything else you're doing. The fourth is what I call moments of inspired learning. And this is an opportunity to find inspirational quotes, or you could read a passage out of a book. You could find a poem. One of the things that I love to do is listen to poetry being read aloud by the poets themselves. This, to me, is magic. I have a practice that I've been doing since January, and I write an inspirational quote into a journal. And so now we're into September, and every single day I flip through this book to get to the next day. And now these things, these beautiful inspirational words are talking to each other and giving me great ideas. So I'm getting great ideas for my second book, and I'm also immersed in the energy of these wise folks who have so much inspiration and knowledge to share. And the fifth is the one that everybody fights me on, and that is making something. This is an opportunity to take 5 minutes to sketch, to doodle, to make a collage, to paint, to make something in the kitchen, to knit, to crochet, whatever it is. You can take 5 minutes. Don't worry about the outcome. We're not interested in creating something fantastic, although you very well may. What's important is this time across the threshold into this place of the unknown. You're facing a blank page or a pot and a heap of ingredients, and you don't have a plan, and that's great. We want to build the musculature for going into this portal where we don't really know what's going to happen and just play around. When we do this, we have a taproot into our intuition. We calm down. We illuminate different centers of the brain. And now we're able to give the soul a chance to surface and be heard because we're so great at our strategic, left, linear thinking mind. And that's wonderful. I love my strategic mind. But when we leave the other part of us out, we're only burning on half of our cylinders. So each of these practices, and you can start with one, start with morning pages or start with a walk, whatever it is. Then you can fold in other ones as you start to build the habit. I can tell you this practice, this series of things works on us like a fine grit sandpaper. And what it does is ignite not only our courage and the willingness to take bold action, it ignites serendipity. All of a sudden, people come to us out of the woodwork, resources, new clients, referrals, a free trip. It's crazy and I know it sounds like magical thinking, but I can assure you, if you try it, you will be a believer.
I've experienced so much of what you're saying. It's resonating with me so much. And I definitely think it's resonating with a lot of people. Susie, this has just been a pleasure. Seriously, like you came in firing all cylinders on this thing. You have clearly
I did my morning practice.
I'm telling you, you've talked about this before, clearly, but you are laser focused in, and this is gold to my audience. I have tremendous gratitude for you coming on to the far side of fitness and discussing fitness entrepreneurship done differently. Thank you so much. And please let everyone know how they can connect with you to get more of this wisdom. It's just awesome.
Thank you so much. I would love for folks to visit my website, which is innovationandcreativityinstitute.com. You can grab my free toolkit for entrepreneurs there. You can also connect with me on all the social media channels, which I would love. And I would love for folks to just check out on Amazon my book, Buoyant, The Entrepreneur's Guide to Becoming Wildly Successful, Creative, and Free. It's offered typically at a really nice discount, and it's going to be your guide through this process. I poured all of my tips, all of the things that I learned through the School of Hard Knocks, as well as the trip through what I call my nuclear winter period. And this brought me back online. And not only did it bring me back online, it took me to heights that I didn't even know were possible for me. So I know it works. It has worked with hundreds of my clients. I have certainly benefited from it. So I encourage folks to check it out.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Susie. I look forward to connecting with you again.
Thank you.